series, Standing Tall, Overcoming All with Jucelyn. Jucelyn
Hi.
Ong.
Hi,
Hi.
Lillian.
Hello. Right. So, brand new week, brand new beginnings. How's your weekend? How did you spend your weekend?
Good. Managed to spend some time with my kids, and yeah, I think bonding is always good. Spending just time doing. It doesn't need to be extravagant outings and stuff, right? Just spending time at home and doing activities together. Yeah. So I had a good weekend. Yourself?
Yeah. I saw that your son cooked something for you, right?
Oh
Was it
yeah.
over the weekend?
That's right, the youngest, right? The 11-year-old boy. He said, "Mommy, I know how to cook steak, and so I'm gonna cook steak for you." Actually, he ate it lah. So it was no. He did give me a bite of it, a taster. In fact, he wanted to cook that for me. So that was nice. And as parents, sometimes we tend to, be overprotective, right? Like, are you sure you know how to handle the fire and all? But yeah, I think when we learn to let go, that's when
Mhm.
we would be able to take little steps. And
Right.
yes,
For you, you had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with your children when they were younger,
that's right.
right? Mm. But I think there are many working moms out there who may not have that opportunity, or
Mm,
they may even feel very guilty of not being able to spend as much time as they would love to with their children, right?
mm.
At one point in time, you were also working, right? You were running. I remember you. I mean, you were running a preschool centers, and how did you manage juggling between um, spending time with your children and being at work, because that requires a lot of your time as well.
Yes, that's right. So when I was running the preschool, setting up the preschool, those were the years when it can get a little bit challenging because I'll have to be at the school and starting a new business. The first few years are always it requires more of your time. But I think with proper time management means when I'm at work, I'm at work. When I'm home, because with three children, right, their needs are very different. So when I'm home, but I did have a helper then.
Mm,
But spending individual time with them, I realized is important, especially when they were growing up. So I do
mm,
have like, depending on what's my children's love, like my daughter, she loves musicals. Then I could have one-to-one date with her. Yeah,
ah,
because sometimes an activity might appeal to one but not to the other because the age
yeah,
gap
yeah.
can be different. So the younger
Mm,
one will do different things, like bring him to the arcade sometimes, or just going to his favorite restaurant. So for me, that's how I did it. Three different
mm,
children, three different loves and preferences. So I think for working moms, I understand your struggles, and everyone's circumstances are different. But
mm,
a child would value even just 15 minutes or half an hour of one-to-one time. They really do.
mm,
Or just talking to them, or just asking them and really listening to what they're sharing. A lot of us are
mm.
guilty of but we are doing our own stuff, right? Checking our phones. Yeah, so I myself have to catch myself. Sometimes I'm guilty of that as well. So I remind
Mm.
myself, okay, he's talking to me. Yeah.
Yeah, right. My girl will literally, like, take my face and turn, mommy.
Oh, she actually.
Yeah, she actually do that.
Oh, you mean until
Yeah,
now?
maybe.
What now?
I
When she
mean,
was younger?
um, on and off. Yeah, it's like younger that time also. Mm, last, I think maybe last year. Last year I was like, so um into the work, right, that I
That's right.
neglected in taking,
Mm,
breaks and all that. Yeah. So that's when, I mean, when she started doing that, that sort of like it's a wake up call for me. Yeah, to actually
right.
stop that, and pay attention to her.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anita, say hi.
Hi,
Hi,
Anita. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. So today, what would you like to share and share with the audience?
Okay, I think earlier on you touched on this word called guilt. Guilt, right? As a working
Mm,
mom or as a mom, you don't have enough time, you feel guilty. So I think this word guilt,
mm,
it's also a topic, something that I think women or those of us who have gone through relationships that didn't quite work out, be it a breakup, a separation, or divorce.
mm,
Sometimes guilt is one word that we grapple with
mm,
a lot, much as we might not want to admit it. But in our downtime, sometimes this is one word that can trip us over, and
mm-hmm,
if we don't deal with it, it might be a stumbling block towards your healing process.
mm.
Mm.
Right. What would be some of the examples that you can share with our audience?
Okay.
Specifically, certain specific examples.
Right. So,
Mm,
for example, especially if you ended a relationship, and children are involved in it,
mm,
I can safely say that for a lot of women, we stay in relationships. I can't speak for all, okay, but I'm just saying in general, or those I've heard, or when they shared with me their struggles, they could be in unhealthy relationships or even relationships that were not working out or broken or abusive or many other forms, but they're staying in it because of the children, because we feel that we should be giving our children a complete family. We want to protect them. Women, our instinctive nature is to nurture and to protect, right? So we stay in it, and some of us, are barely able to cope with it in a healthy way ourselves. So, when it finally comes to an end, there is this deep sense of guilt that I failed my children.
mm,
I wasn't
mm,
able to give them a complete home, for example.
mm,
So,
mm,
you could be struggling with feelings like, am I not a good mother? Or how could I have made it better? Why didn't it work? Was it
mm,
me? Was it the other party? Whatever it is this whole, because, a separation or divorce in itself is a very traumatic experience,
mm-hmm,
not just emotionally, but there are many, many physical aspects to it as well, right?
mm.
Home have
Yeah.
to be, your matrimonial home usually would have to be sold. So there's this whole string of consequences that you would have to be walking through after
Right.
divorce or separation. Yeah. So this guilt.
Mm.
Mm.
So besides handling and addressing all the essential, like you said, logistics, accommodations,
That's right.
even custody and things like that,
Mm.
uh, so-called the hardware part of it. There's still the software part of it, which is the matters of the heart, that associate
That's
with
right.
all the emotions, and the mindset and the mental state, mental health, mental and emotional health. Yeah. So, was it? Are there any examples from your personal experience,
Mm.
or yeah, can give an example of, you know, how did you actually overcome that, and what are the steps? What are the practical steps? If someone out there right now, if some of the
Mm.
women out there who are either considering, going through that process. I mean, that's the last resort. When we talk about this, we're talking to audiences who this is their last resort, or you have already taken the action and in that process, okay,
Mm.
or you have just completed that process and you are, going through this emotional state of, trying to overcome this guilt and all that. So what would you encourage our audience out there with some practical steps that they can take? Mm,
Okay. I think one of the first step that you need to take would be to forgive yourself Okay, that sounds very funny, right? Because some of us might go, "That's not my fault." Okay, some relationships is really, you tried really hard to salvage it. You really tried to work on it and all, but I think it is to come to a realization like, okay, especially if you have already taken the steps to, or you have just completed the process, is to first acknowledge and accept that that is now your new reality. That whole finger pointing and all, it's really not going to help any matters. So forgive yourself for the fact that it might not be, I know I've said this to women and they go, yeah, but it's really not my fault. I was the victim. I was on the receiving end. I say, I understand. Sometimes it's not our fault, but let's go beyond that. Okay, let's go beyond that, because now our main motive is to move on. Right? So forgive yourself for the fact that, okay, this is an episode in my life that didn't work out. More importantly, what are the lessons that I learned from it? How did it help me as a person grow? It might not be your fault, but what did you learn about yourself even through this whole process? So I think the very, very first step is to forgive. And I think I shared in the previous episode before, forgiveness is difficult because some people equate it with acceptance. So acceptance that the other person's behavior or even your behavior is forgiven, is forgotten. Not necessarily so. When you forgive someone, it just means that, or an incident, it just means that you don't want the incident and the person to have a hold on you anymore. It's the past. Yeah. All right. So that's step number one. I think the second step is to really realize, to come to the realization that guilt is not going to get you anywhere. Yeah, you really need to get that into your brain and your mindset, because if you keep going around in guilt, I realized you might cross over this very thin boundary into shame. Because let's face it, divorce, it's, especially even now, where even though unfortunately it is, the statistics have shown that it's on the rise, it's more common compared to maybe decades ago, but very often there's still a sense of shame and taboo that is linked with it. Yeah, that's the reason why some women would rather stay in relationships that are totally unhealthy, because they don't know how to deal with what people will think of them. What is people going to talk about me? And then you go into this path of shame. And when you're feeling ashamed, sometimes you choose withdrawal. Right? Because you're afraid of what's people talking about you. You don't know how to verbalize what you're feeling inside. And that's where it might link to what we talked about the last session, which is depression. So you see how, it can progress if you don't deal with the issue at hand in order to move on.
So first step is to forgive yourself.
Yes.
Right? And then second step is to realize
that guilt doesn't change anything.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. And the third step is maybe take this time to revisit your values, your moral compass, or where you stand. So the third step is to revisit your values, your moral compass, to find yourself again. Okay. And for some people, they find that, for some ladies, they find that journaling helps them. So step 4 is to journal it out, to give an outlet for what you're feeling.
Okay. So just now you mentioned revisit your values, moral compass, to find yourself again.
Yes.
Right. And then lastly,
the step 4 would be to journal. Okay, this allows you to process your feelings, be it feelings of guilt, feelings of, there would be good days, there will be bad days. There'll be days where you might be ranting, right? Okay, but this journaling thing, a word of caution, it really depends on individuals. I know some people do find that it helps them. I've also heard of personal stories whereby after they rant and write and everything, all their deepest raw emotion, they actually burn it. To them, it signifies a ending. To some people, it's important to have like a clean cut kind of thing. Yeah. So they would throw away certain things that yeah, I've got people who would throw away their wedding album there because they don't want to keep revisiting it, the issue, because then they find that they're trapped in it. But if you are one person who overthink a lot and then journaling, and every day you're writing down the same old things and you're ranting and a lot of negative emotion, yeah, you would also need to, if you find yourself doing that very, very often, instead of maybe writing down things that you can be grateful for, thankful for, and you find that you are still very trapped, then maybe the next step that I would suggest is you might need to seek help. Get
Yeah, I think
therapy.
before that, before you go on to the next point, like, just now you say the journaling part, right?
That's right.
Instead of journaling, revisiting all the negativity, why not your previous step was, revisit your values.
Yes.
I think that was a very good practical tip to apply. Because if you have a strong core value, those are, fundamental foundation, like a foundation for you. Yeah. And to rediscover yourself again, because it's through this process, you get swept off your balance, maybe lose your identity for a while. And one way of, I personally find that journaling is a very powerful tool, powerful practice, powerful habit to rediscover yourself. Yeah, to really dig into deep in yourself. Yeah, your thoughts and how you feel. Yeah, and when we write it down, there is this power in writing it down. Yeah, you have to experience it yourself. So like we mentioned here, don't write down. I mean, you can write all the, if the first round everything is very negative, just let it all out, right? And then, like you said, some actually took the extra effort to just burn it away, and that's symbolic, signify whatever that is. Yeah, but after that, write down the positive part of it also. Yeah, the moving forward. Don't get stuck behind, right? Stuck in the past, but look forward. Yeah, journal your dreams, your aspiration. What those dreams and those things that you wanted to do, but you never had a chance to do because you were trapped in the past. Yeah, so I think it's a very powerful tool, powerful habit to actually cultivate journaling.
For myself, for myself as well, journaling is, I mean, I love writing, and actually this book, Standing Tall, Overcoming All, as I was writing the book itself, I realized that a lot of this, little nuggets here and there were from my journals. Were from my journals from year 2016, 2017, and if I didn't write some of those things down, I would have lost it, because sometimes you cannot remember or when you experience certain things. And the beauty of it is, in fact, like today, I saw Facebook always have that pop-up reminder. That's about one of the few things I like about Facebook, amongst other, not so good things. But they do sometimes pop up stuff, like you wrote maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, certain entries. And I realized that, I wrote something 2 years back, and now I actually see, so 2 years ago I was at this stage, and then now I see the fulfillment maybe of something that I said I was looking forward to. And that's what journaling does for you.
Yeah.
So it is
some people, if they are too lazy to write or not very good at writing,
you can draw.
You can draw, you can even record. video record yourself. Yeah, I think my daughter likes to do that, and it can be who knows, it can be a very motivational video clip for you down the road, right, a few years down
That's
the road.
right. Yeah.
Like those Facebook live that we did, that I did, like you say, Facebook also, bring up those memories, right? And when I watch my own Facebook live, and I get encouraged by myself, right? Especially when I'm down, and then at that point in time, that Facebook live was, empowering, right? So yeah, do find ways, just create possibilities to help yourself. Yeah, and if you feel that at this point in time you're not that strong yet, you need help, you need support, I think that's fine. Like what just now, Jucelyn, you mentioned, right? That the next step is to seek support. Yeah. And I always have to say, seeking support is not weakness. It is actually courage. It takes courage to actually seek support.
That's right.
What's your thoughts about this?
Yes, because actually being vulnerable is it's courage, Yeah, because the world has taught us that, we should mask our emotions, or everything is okay. But it takes courage and a high level of trust to be able to be authentic and to be able to be vulnerable and seek help when we need. Yes. So a strong network support is also very important in your recovery process. Okay, be with people whom you don't feel judged, whom you feel comfortable sharing with. Because there will be, like I said, downtime. In fact, I just had a conversation with a lady last night. I spent some time with her. And so I was helping her walk through some of, okay, so what are some of the practical steps that you can take now? And then she went, oh, okay, I will help myself get out. I said, okay, that's a good thing, and she was listing out what are some of the things that she's doing. I said, well, that sounds really good. But sometimes, when you're stuck in a quicksand, a quicksand with nothing to support. And you know how quicksand works, right? It just keeps pulling you down. And when you don't have something solid to hold on to, it can be very difficult if you depend on your own strength. You're like just grasping. So you might need to call for help and get someone to just throw you a stick or something that and pull you up. Just for a little bit, it's like a supplementary oxygen just for a little bit, until your lungs are strong enough to breathe on their own. Yeah.
I think that is a mindset, for people to actually embrace that. Yeah, because if that mindset about seeking help is weakness, that itself is a belief system, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and based on past experiences and you're brought up, the culture you're in, and all the experiences, there may be a lot of baggage and reinforcement about that belief. Yeah. So it takes time to look into it and really take a serious look into it. Yeah, whether seeking help, seeking support, is it really weakness? Or is actually really courage? Yeah.
Actually, personally for myself, I realized that actually I do have so many friends who truly care, but I didn't realize that. And actually, they're all ready to support. But because I have not reached out to them, or I've chosen to walk the journey alone, or I've masked it, they thought everything was fine, right? So they were not able to come in. Yeah, you'll be surprised, okay, at your family members or friends who are there. They are there all the time, actually. All right. So you have that choice. Okay. So take courage to ask for help. Another thing about guilt will be, that brings me to another point, is this tendency to overcompensate. What I mean by overcompensate would be, so the next point is don't overcompensate, meaning, so because you feel so guilty that this relationship didn't work out, or especially where kids are involved, that you overcompensate. So you might end up allowing your children to get away with things that you would otherwise not have. Maybe their bad behavior, or overcompensate with gifts, because you feel that you have so-called failed them, or this relationship has failed them,
Mm.
and then you overcompensate
Mm.
in other aspects. So
Right.
that definitely children will be processing through their own healing process during this period. Okay, everybody will be affected. Yeah, but when you are feeling guilty and then you start overcompensating, it just really doesn't help matters. What you should be doing is spending more time talking to them. If they're at different stages of their life, again, their way of processing this whole issue is going to be very different. And spend time with them. And if they do need help as well, there are many avenues out there. I mean, proper counselors that do family counseling, and they work with children, teenagers as well. Yeah, so these are practical steps, because you do really need to address this sense of guilt first in order to free yourself. Because if emotionally you are still tied down, just like hot air balloon, anything that flies, right? If there's so much weight at the bottom, then you can't fly, right? So you do need to adjust your, I'm sorry, I'm not a hot air balloon expert, although one of my bucket lists is actually to get on a hot air balloon. Yeah, okay. Yeah, to adjust the pressure and all that. Yeah, so you must remember, you need to be in a safe place yourself, emotionally, physically, holistically. Please get enough sleep, exercise, and then allow yourself time to heal. Now, I'm going to emphasize that this is going to differ from individual to individual. Some of us take a longer time to process and to heal. Some might take months, some might take years. Okay, so allow yourself time to heal, because if you ignore your initial feelings and you just sweep it under the carpet, feelings have a way of creeping back. And unprocessed grief, unprocessed anger, unprocessed guilt is going to blow up. Okay, then you end up, having to repeatedly deal with some of these issues, which really tires you out in the long run. So deal with it properly from the onset. Yeah, that's my advice.
Yeah, I think that's quite a lot of points that you have shared with the audience, with us. So let's take a quick recap.
Right.
Yeah, I think you mentioned, first is to forgive yourself, right? Forgive yourself, and then also to realize that guilt doesn't change anything. Yeah, and so to revisit your values, your moral compass, and to find yourself again. And you can actually do that through journaling, right? One of the ways is through journaling. Yeah, and any negative points, any negative emotion and thoughts, you can burn them away, right? And seek support. Very important to seek support. And seeking support is not weakness. It actually requires courage to do that. Okay, and then also you have highlighted, don't overcompensate, right? Especially towards your children, right? In be it time, be it things, especially things, right?
Yeah, you might start buying presents for them, and you just want to make things better, but you're not solving the root issues. So your children is still not getting the help, and in fact you're spoiling them, and so yeah, it doesn't help the equation.
Yeah, and I think what they probably need more from you is your time, your presence, right? As your attention. Yeah. And then also, last but not least, you mentioned to also remember to give yourself time and space to heal, right?
Yes.
That requires time as well for the healing to complete, right? Wow, that's quite a lot of practical tips and pointers that you are sharing with the audience here. So thank you so much, Jucelyn. I believe there are a lot more in your book, a lot more practical strategies and practical tips and principles that your readers and the audience out there can actually apply. So how can they get a copy of your book?
Okay, they can go to www.jucelynong.com to pre-order the book. Okay, and then I'll be in touch. We'll be in touch when the book is out, and the book is going to be out really soon, right? We are looking, probably by next month it'll be out. So thank you for those who have already put in your pre-orders. Thank you for your support. And continue to support this book, because the first 35 copies will actually go to my beneficiary, the Safe Place. And more importantly, it's really my hope that this book will be useful for women who are in the various stages of life and in the different stages of their relationships.
Yeah. So grab a copy of a book at www.jucelynong.com. Okay. Now, talking about seeking support, we actually are having our monthly empowerment meeting.
Oh yeah, right? Tonight.
Yes, tonight, monthly empowerment meeting tonight. It happens every last Tuesday of the month. So we will have lots of stories of courage and opportunities, of sharing your story of courage as well. So come and be inspired, be empowered, and walk away really being filled with courage. Yeah, courage is contagious. It's contagious. So come and immerse in this community of women of courage. Okay, so that's happening tonight. So you can click on the link as well to register and receive the Zoom link. Okay. Right. So what else did I miss out? Do we need any shout out for? Oh yeah, the Swap for Courage, right?
Yes, Swap for Courage.
You want to share a little bit about that?
Okay, the Swap for Courage fundraising campaign, the proceeds of which will go to the Safe Place. We are tying up with Still and Maternity. We have various sponsors who have so generously come on board to sponsor the lucky draw prizes, to sponsor some goodies, and together with Shopaholic, which is at Orchard Central, where you can buy a Swap for Courage package. Okay, so for those of you who are into upcycling, so besides being upcycling, you can also be supporting Safe Place, so doing good. How it works is, you can buy a package, let them know that you are here to purchase a Swap for Courage package, whereby you can exchange 11 items. Okay, it doesn't need to be maternity clothes. It can be any items, because this shop basically has accessories and beautiful clothings, which are as good as new. Some of them, really most of them, in fact, quality it's very the QC check is very stringent, and also it's
very stringent. I didn't get all my items accepted.
Yeah, they rejected some of your items, right? Yeah, if it's frayed or discoloration, and also you can be assured that the quality is very good. So you can exchange, because some of us ladies, guilty as charged, we buy items, we wear it once, or sometimes the price tag is still there, and then you go, I don't think I want to wear this, or we can't outgrow our clothes, or upsize or downsize, either way. And instead of letting it sit in your closet, you could just take up a $44 package. And how it works is, you bring it in, and then they give you a point system. They check the items. Yes. So maybe a dress is 4 points, 5 points, 6 points, or all. But 11 items you bring in, and using that point, you can swap out for accessories or clothing from the shop itself.
Yeah, I think to simplify it, you just bring 11 items. Bring more than 11. Bring more than 11 because you will need a QC, to go through the quality check.
Right.
Yeah, just bring more than 11 items. Time to declutter your wardrobe. Just declutter your wardrobe. Bring out the best, those, and whatever you have bought emotionally on an emotional impulse and never wear them. Right, just declutter your wardrobe. Go down to Shopaholic, buy a 44. Tell them, you want to support the Swap for Courage initiative, because we are going to fundraise. This is a fundraising exercise to support Safe Place, and we are going to be inviting Do you want to share this? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
next week, tune in, same time, same channel, because we have a special guest next week. So I'm really excited to have Jennifer, who founded Safe Place. And she'll be
Yes.
sharing with us more about how what is the heartbeat and mission of Safe Place. So that you at least get a more understanding and where her passion
Yeah.
and what
Yeah.
fueled it, for her
Yes.
to set up this place, to provide a safe place for women who are going through unsupported pregnancy for whatever reasons. And so please
Yeah.
join us next Tuesday at 12:30.
Yes.
Yes.
And know that, your contribution
Mm,
towards this Soul for Courage initiative plays an important part in supporting these women and this non-profit organization.
that's right.
All right.
That's
So yes, as well, don't forget to purchase Jucelyn's book because that goes to support Safe Place as well, right? The first 35 copies, I think you have already already hit your target. I think you need to increase your target. All right. Thank you very much for joining us today. We'll see you again next week. All right.
yes.
Bye. Yeah, remember to log in tonight for the Women of Courage Asia.